and welcome to a new year of the podcast Dive Into Reiki. And I'm here with my friend Frans. He was the last person I interviewed when I was taking a break, and the first person I actually interview as I retake the podcast. Hi, Frans.
Good morning, afternoon, or whatever. Natalie, how are you?
Good. So this year I'm gonna change a little bit the format, and I'm gonna be talking about obviously Reiki and Japanese spiritual practices, but I'm gonna do it more as a conversation about basically how to adapt all these spiritual practices that may be a little heady or conceptual into everyday life. The world is going, no matter where you live, we're going through some very strange happenings. And I've traveled a lot this year for, well, the past year because it's 2026 now, through work and myself. And where I go around the world, people are really scared, they're angry, no matter what background you have. So I wanted to start the year with a little bit of joyful uh, chatter, kindness, but also some practical tips about how to stay centered and find a little bit of joy and kindness in this mad world right now.
It's indeed a bit of a crazy time everywhere when I look outside.
Yeah, because even in Holland, like Holland used to be such a happy country with people like doing like naked marathons, and now even there is a little bit of stress, right?
Yeah, I think I like what you say, about our daily life. I
Yeah.
think also one of the biggest issue we have as a spiritual practice is to see it as something separate from our daily life. But this is the biggest mistake we make because life is spiritual practice and spiritual practice is life. If we can only do it on our yoga mat or a meditation pillow, then ultimately what is the use of it? And Mikasui said today, he didn't say on your meditation pillow or on the Reiki table. So today in Japan is used in Zen, in Tendai Buddhism, and it really means engaging in your daily life from that viewpoint of that spirituality, whatever that might be. We can talk about it later. But, like I live in this high building and it's my tower. If I can only do it in my tower, and then when I go out and I'm getting angry and worried and frustrated, etc., then what the use is really my practice because I do have to go out to do some shopping, to work, to engage with my local community. I cannot hide in my room here.
No, you can't. And it's funny because for me, one thing that has helped is like I literally wake up and I'm like, I have a bed, I have a roof. And no matter how big or strong, like right now, I was warm
Yeah.
enough during the night, and that already is such a beautiful luxury, right? So for me, those little moments are what help me. What helps you, or what is a tip you will give to someone when they're a little scared about the future or whatever?
I mean, I lived in India for 2 years, and, like, even for 1 year, I lived in Darjeeling. Running water was not a given, right? Sometimes we did had running water. We had these big baths. We rented this huge old house that had two or three old baths. And when we had water, we filled them, put plastic over it, because maybe the next day there was no water for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We never know. So, those small things. When we look in this precepts, the Reiki precepts, be grateful. People often say, "Oh, I'm grateful for this, for my car, for my thing." In a way, we're grateful that we wake up in the morning
Yeah.
because, again, that is also not given. Maybe we don't wake up in the morning. And so that we can breathe. And you and I, we live in very fortunate countries, even that there's shitty things happening. We're running water, you have a roof, we have food. I mean, if you really look at it and you compare it with the rest of the world, then we're super, super, super lucky because in many parts of the world, there is no running water, there is no roof, there is no food. So we're still pretty lucky. And yet we still complain about everything.
No, no, that's what impresses me. And honestly, I'm like that. So that's why I've been practicing very hard to shift that. I
Yeah.
also think, so I was listening about, I'm listening to a lot of podcasts lately, but the power of O, AWE, because I know I'm not pronouncing it the right way in English. But it's wonder, awe, and hope. It shifts you from the self to the community, to the oneness. And it really takes away from your ego. And I think sometimes we feel, oh, we have to do something incredible, like to go on top of a mountain or to travel. But actually, you can, one thing I've been practicing is eating a chickpea, a French fry, whatever it is, an orange. I love oranges because I can feel the sun. And paying attention and with gratitude. And you can actually feel oh with little things. What do you think about that as a tip?
Of course. I mean, but this is with anything, like anything, like I'm just having a cup of tea here. This cup of tea wouldn't be here for any, like, it just doesn't appear. Someone had to pick the tea. This actually tea comes from Japan. So someone had to pick the tea. Someone had to plant the bush. Someone had to pack it. Someone had to ship it. Someone had to sell it. The cup, someone had to make it, someone had to create some clay, the shop had to sell it. So this, for me, already drinking this cup of tea, I don't know, maybe a few thousand people are responsible for me having this cup of tea here. And we don't think about it. So if I really, with awareness, drink this cup of tea, I'm already interconnected with these thousand people, right? It's not that this cup appears out of nowhere for Frans with some tea in it. Then, if you really think about it, the water has to go into the kettle has to boil. So, the electricity, people have to be involved with that. Someone has to make the kettle, the water pipes. Well, like maybe even more than 1,000 people have to be in play for me to actually enjoy this cup of tea. And this is with anything we do, it's not that it just your orange appears suddenly in your hand. Again, there's lots of people involved to give you this orange. So we're not an individual eating an orange. We're an individual, and at the same time, we're interconnected. And when we appreciate that, when we're grateful for that, automatically our mindset becomes something quite different. And then when we notice this, then automatically there's a spaciousness, and then automatically we start to feel less worry and angry. And then I think also automatically all the people who've been in play, no matter if that's past, present, or future, are benefiting from you being really consciously aware of what you're doing right now.
No, that is beautiful because in a way we went from just drinking a tea that we may enjoy or like actually just drink as we watch TV to like really a beautiful practice. And I think as I was feeling the sense of wonder and gratitude, right? As you were building
Yeah.
up, it's just like it's so easy and it makes us like realize like it's a miracle we even have Japanese tea in our hands, right?
Absolutely. Or a miracle that I have a book, or a miracle that I have my iPhone. I mean, we take so many things for granted. A miracle that I'm wearing this lovely jumper I bought in Paris. I don't know what the hell, like it is, life in itself is wondrous and miraculous. We just don't see it because I think also we've become so spoiled in our modern day society. We want more and more and more and more. And then we don't see the miracle what is right in front of our noses.
I know it's funny because and as you everybody knows, I work in advertising, but there is all this language of you deserve it. And here in the US, it was very trendy, like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve
Yeah.
that. And then actually that is not really true. Every human deserves access to food, healthcare, and a safe home where they can sleep and be safe. Water, all of that. But this whole thing has made us actually we think we deserve stuff, but then we don't enjoy what we have because we're always thinking we deserve more. And it's something almost like a hungry ghost, that we are creating in society. But I will invite people for 2026 to really reframe that I deserve to I'm grateful that I have what I
Yeah.
have.
Absolutely. As you say, that hungry ghost, we keep eating, and we wanting more and more and more. And then we want it better and bigger, and we never become satisfied because we like a hungry ghost. But when we actually are grateful for the small little things in our daily life, a piece of soap, the running water, your cup of tea in the morning, or coffee, I don't know. then already we see we actually don't need that much, right? Like people come into my apartment and some people say, Franz, where's your stuff? Like, this is it.
I know. So I moved into an apartment and I have a storage downstairs, and I'm supposed to put the winter clothes in the storage and the summer clothes, whatever, rotate them. I don't need
Yeah,
to. I have enough with one closet, right? It's like, and people are like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I have enough with a closet," and it's, and I have a tons of clothes. It's a big closet, but
yeah,
it's something very important. It's also seeing that the gratitude for what we have. And also, I sometimes I also feel, and again, the American society is a little bit different, but a lot of time, for example, homes, right? We have a home and we're thinking of the next home. Like,
yeah,
oh, I'm saving for a bigger house, more room, more stuff. And what happens is, even though you may have a beautiful or not so beautiful home, but it's a home, you don't clean it with love. Like, for example, cleaning your house can be such a gratitude practice and also make cleaning a lot more pleasant, to be
yeah.
honest. But we're always thinking of the next thing. And I think you were starting with just for today. This is the home you have. This is the place you are. These are the clothes
Yeah.
you have. And these are good enough.
Absolutely. I mean, I was just going out because I went to Paris and I bought some new clothes and I went through my
Woo!
cupboard. And this couple from the Ukraine who live in detention, it's not a detention center, but a refugee center. They came and visited me for a coffee and dinner. And I said to him, I said, oh, I just went through my cupboards. Do you want it? And he said, oh, yeah, yeah, I take it. So, this is also this kind of, I cannot use 10 jeans. I mean, I maybe wear three a week. I don't know. And the rest is just hanging there. So sometimes I noticed this too when I lived in India. We had friends there and literally they had hardly anything. And yet they would give away whatever they had. They would knock on the door around lunchtime. We made lunch, and I go, Pemba, but you have nothing. Yeah, but we have this. We can share it with you. We're coming to have lunch with you. And here we go like, oh no, but I cannot give you this, like, but this is my food, this is my jumper, this is my, and so therefore we come back to that I, me, mine again. Huh? Like we so I, me, mine orientated, and that for me creates a lot of friction. This is my money, this is my house, this is my whatever, my air I'm breathing, but this is not really my house, or this is not even my cup of tea. And why is it not my cup of tea? Because it takes about 1,000 people or more to get me this tea. So it's not really my tea at all. That's just an illusion.
I love that because I think there is a big sense of lack. And when you talk about that, I imagine, well, if you're based on the I, there will always be limits to what you have. And when we
Yeah.
shift to the community, to generosity and sharing, there is no limit, right? There is abundance because there is a society coming together.
I think this is the most important thing, to really see that ultimately we're not a particular individual living our in this very boxed in life. We are dependent on people. We're dependent on the earth. We're dependent on air. We're dependent on the sun. So there's so many things at play for me to exist today. And if we don't think about it, then we become very greedy. And then, of course, we don't think about the community or we don't serve the community. And because we don't realize this deep interconnectedness with everything that exists.
Yeah. And it's incredible because when we become more generous and we allow things to flow and we share, like the pleasure it gives you is actually what counteracts the sense of lack,
Oh, absolutely.
which is the reason why we don't give. So it's like a cycle that is very
Yeah.
difficult to break. One advice is I'm trapped in a sink of lack and I don't want to give away because I'm scared of not having. Perhaps one tip to actually be able to enter that cycle of sharing and generosity, what would it be?
First of all, I think seeing the interconnectedness of everything, that you're not a very solitude little person created out of nothing and out of nowhere, and suddenly you're there. But actually, many things have to come into play for you to exist, for you to eat, for you to live, and then be grateful for that. And I think that's the first thing, seeing that deep interconnectedness and that we always rely on different support for anything or anything we use today in my daily life. I mean, like, even if I want to go downstairs from the 11th floor, no elevator, then I have to walk, but no stairs. And how do I get down? So all of these things,
Jump.
it's mind-boggling in a way, if you really think about it. So therefore, I think also within the Reiki precepts, we see the word grateful, like being grateful for every single thing today, what we come across. And no matter, maybe if you, even someone says something to you, you should be grateful for that, because that gives you an opportunity to actually let go and to open your hand. Instead of making a fist, we open our hand. Or I need to open my hand to give something to someone, but I also need to open my hand to receive. And so opening, in some Zen traditions, they call it opening the hand of thought. So that when we open up, when instead of being narrow-minded or I, me, mine, we open up and say, oh, actually, there's so much more at play. And it also, I think, what is really important, we don't have to create this interconnectedness or oneness, because it is already here. Without that interconnectedness or oneness, I don't exist at all.
Exactly. It's and no, I think that is so important. And your gesture of opening the hands for me is such a great, almost like, kinetic reminder of what we can do. And like, and that if we cannot, if we don't give, we can receive. I think that is
Yeah,
also, especially if you're like, I want more, well, then give. Like, because that's the way you start, and
yeah,
then it becomes more natural, right? I
yeah,
used to give my clothes just to get rid of my space, and I would give the clothes that were like kind of very destroyed. And now I give like, I don't wear it and I fold it. And when I'm gonna give those clothes, I'm like, especially the good ones, are almost new or whatever, but I it's not my style anymore, the color. And I just
mm,
imagine someone wearing it with joy. It's so new, it's so beautiful. And it gives me so much joy because I bring my little bag and I'm imagining someone using that, getting
yeah.
it for very low price at one of thrift shop, and they're gonna be happy. And that brings me so much joy. And I'm actually also like liberating my closet, right? So it's just a
Absolutely.
beautiful gesture and so simple.
I think it's a win-win situation, right?
Yeah, and so another thing I've been practicing, and I think we started talking about that when you were in New York in April, was this thing about greeting people with warm eyes. And I was also doing some travel in Japan, and part of the Buddhism, some of like the when they say like how to apply in daily life, there is nothing very strange beyond greet strangers with a warm heart, gaze at people with a friendly case.
Yeah,
I'm repeating myself. So I've been doing that a lot in the subway because we catch people's eyes or on the street. And it's beautiful because some people actually engage with you and you see your eyes are straight. And then there is a smile that comes, when you smile with your eyes. And then you feel that very strong connection, your heart opening, warm up. And you can see the other person, sometimes they react and sometimes they're freaked out, but sometimes they also do that. And
yeah.
then what I'm trying to do lately is I feel it with my whole body. I really absorb it. And it changes my day, at least half an hour of the day. Then, things may happen, but I'm doing it more and more. And it's just such a beautiful way also to connect and not to feel so isolated and scared.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, for me, this is the essence of the system of Reiki. Like we often, the system of Reiki, people think about it's about energy or it's about hands-on healing. But, if we look at the Reiki precepts behind me, it's all about do not anger, do not worry, be grateful, be true to your way in your being, and be compassionate and kind.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say anything about hands-on healing, doesn't say anything about energy, but it says about a state of mind of course, if I'm kind and I feel compassionate and I feel true to my way, my being, and I feel grateful, and There is no anger or worry. Of course, the way I walk in my daily life is different, and the way other people react to it is different. And therefore, that already has a huge and tremendous healing effect in your local community, but first of all, for yourself. So, for me, actually, when we really truly embody the precepts, and we can take this through our practice into town, that really is a spiritual practice. This is how we live our life today. Actually, I'm reading this wonderful book. I'm finished it and I'm just typing out the quotes. And
It's a
so
Zen
it,
meditation handbook from Master Dogans.
yeah, and it's wonderful. And it's really all about today. Bring it into your life today. There is no other life outside this present moment. There is no other life outside of me now, maybe drinking a cup of tea or talking to you. There is no other side, like really, right? So if I this morning I walk into the cafe, that is my present moment life. There is nothing else. And so if in that present moment life, when there is nothing else, well, I'm walking into the cafe, and this morning there was this lady. She was talking about a boyfriend. I think I've talked about to her a few times. Hi, Happy New Year. We give each other a hug. She takes her bag next to her away, so come and sit next to me, and we chat. And it's this happy chatting. And then, okay, bye, bye. And you feel already fantastic without even having done any spiritual practice, any posture, any hands-on healing, any intention whatsoever. You just react from that way of kindness and openness. Then already, we are ready at that moment. We are so wealthy. No matter if, like, I noticed this when I lived in India. There's also times in my life where I had hardly any money, maybe had like $2 or $3 or something. But then still, when you open yourself up and you react in that present moment to life with whatever is right in front of your nose at that moment in time, there is already a beauty, there is already amazing things. And again, we just have to see it.
Yeah, and I love also the story of the hug because sometimes when we say there is no giver, no receiver, it's hard to understand when we're doing a session. But
Yeah.
if you think of a hug, and if you give a hug not as the hugger who will make the other person feel better, but really an open-hearted hug where both people are equal, and you're that's no giver, no receiver. So it's also a great lesson as a Reiki practitioner about that's what we mean. You're not the healer. There
Yeah.
is that same level where like both of us are connecting and creating this magic.
I think this is again about softening the concept of I need mine. I need to give, like, I mean, if you really think about it, like if I walk into town and I see someone, if I have to think, I have to do now a smile because that makes the other person happy, there is an issue there. Right? So sometimes people talk about, oh, we need to have the intention. No, if we actually ultimately intentionless, it happens naturally, like a natural smile. It's not someone falls over and go, let me intend that I'm going to catch this person. Then already they're on the floor. It happens automatically,
Yeah.
right? Without any intention whatsoever. And so love and kindness, when we truly in that space, happens automatically. The smile happens automatically. The kindness happens automatically. Why? Because it's who we are. That is the essence of life. I think we live our life to actually rediscover that. Like we get so now so caught up. But I think the essence of being alive is to rediscover that actually our whole being right now is in its truest form love and kindness and compassion without boundaries, without ups and downs, just pure love, pure compassion. But we get so caught up in it.
Yeah. Yeah, and also we go into our heads because we have a point of view and then we want to justify it, right? Like we get
Yeah,
angry or worry, and then, oh, I need to justify I'm angry because I'm supposed to be a Reiki practitioner who's calm, and I'm angry because society is being unfair and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
But that actually is not very healthy. Like at the end, being right is not going to help you move
No.
in this at all.
And
It's
sometimes again, we just have to take a deep breath and open the hands and go like, it is just the way it is. Like today I had to be on my bike and it was super windy and it was kind of wet snow and it was cold.
uh,
But who then I think about it, who makes this saying, Franz, this is really, it's cold, it's terrible, it's not good weather to ride your bike. Who is making these statements? I am making these statements, no one else, right? And this is the same if we look at it in a bigger picture. Who makes all these statements? This is me as an individual. So we have a self responsibility to soften these statements, what we say to ourselves. And my mom actually said something, Franz, do you think there will be peace in the world maybe this year? I said, Mom, if an individual cannot find peace within themselves, and I said, like there's all these people say, I want peace, I want peace. Yeah, but I don't like this group of people. I don't like that group of people. How the hell can we think there is peace? Is it absolutely impossible? So therefore, it is this kindness and compassion what Mikao talks about in the system of Reiki is a compassion what doesn't change according to circumstances. And if I can find that within myself, like a baby doesn't say, "Oh, are you from this or this country? I'm not going to play with you." Or, "Oh, you look this kind of color or you wear that kind of clothes. I'm not going to play with you." No, the baby is not thinking about that. That is what a baby learns from their parents or from the peers or from the group they're involved in the society. But originally, the baby has no idea about this, right? And so this is really, we have to change our education system, the way we think. Then maybe the individual has to look at what am I actually saying? If I want to have peace, first look for peace in yourself and then accept everybody.
no, but I also love this thing that you say, like your individual peace cannot depend on world peace. And there are moments more peaceful. Right now, we're really going through a moment where peace is not, at least like a very happy peace in most of the world, is not an option for the next few years.
No,
There's going to be tension. So at the end, you cannot just postpone your peace because of that, because
no.
and also it means like you need to build resilience, like you need to stay centered and build resilience. And then, as you say, like the only way to start bringing that peace is actually by finding your peace. So I really love that, but it's
Yeah.
quite hard. It's not, but it's acceptance of what it is.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I think also because we have the idea that peace comes later and not today.
Yeah,
Like, and I think this is even if you're in a very terrible situation, there are people who can still be peaceful.
yeah,
And so if we look at this, right, where there's really terrible situations, and yet some people can be super peaceful, they can still love, they still can share their kindness. That means that it is an individual practice. And so if they can do it, we can do it. It's just a matter of fact of training or having a very specific state of mind, listening to some teachings, applying the teachings, etc., so that we can stay stable and grounded and not get caught up in what other people are saying, what other people are doing, and that we can stay our ground with no anger, no worry. I mean, the other day I had something and I got a little bit upset. And then, like a minute later, I thought, yeah, but it's just your viewpoint. It's just some words coming out of this person's mouth. And if I really look at the letters or the words what come out of this person's mouth and I zoom back and I pull these letters apart, then they're just individual letters. They actually don't mean any shit at all. God, wow. I just get angry or upset about something so insubstantial. And this is what we do so often, we get so, if we zoom out, if we, again, that opening, like, and not being like this, we like this, look, but if we open it, we actually step back and then it doesn't look so bad. It's not
And we
such
also don't get to react and fix it, right? I'm thinking like I had this thing with someone and they wanted to do something and they say, oh, we cannot do this because Natalie is doing this thing. And I was available. I'm like, and of course, my first reaction is like, do I get angry? But then I'm trying to actually breathe and and because I was able to calm myself, which I'm very grateful it doesn't happen every time, I go into I actually said, no, I'm actually available. I'm connected. So if you cannot do it, that's fine, but I'm actually available. Like very
yeah,
simple. And the person apologized and everything was fixed because I actually calmly said, but it's kind of obvious. Actually, this guy is saying I'm not available, I am available. There was no big
yeah,
drama. And then he said, well, I didn't want to say that I was going shopping. I'm like, well, yeah, but you're not putting the blame on me, right? Like it's, so I just see that, and also like sometimes we get angry about things that if we're calm and just express very calmly
yeah,
what we need, they're gone. But also we get angry about things we can't control, right? Like, oh, injustice and all of that. But by getting angry, we add to the fuel. And listen, I feel angry when I see injustice. And for me, one of the things I try to do instead of like, I'm going to send Reiki to try to fix it, I'm trying lately very much to how do I feel? What do I feel? How can I go back to peace? But also, how can I feel connection and kindness to
yeah,
both the victims and the people who are victimizing, apparently, who are also victims, right? Because by being full,
absolutely.
so it's a hard practice, but I think it's how to learn not to try to fix it through Reiki practice. Like, I'm going to create world peace versus let me feel connection. What am I feeling? Where am I now? How can I
Yeah.
regain my balance? And you're very good at that. For me, it's like really practicing very hard. It's been a kind of intense practice last year, and I want to keep on having it this year.
Yeah. But exactly right. I mean, we cannot fix it. Like, there's lots of things we cannot fix. And yet, there is a way of me reacting to it differently.
Yeah.
And as you say, if I keep adding anger to the fuel, it only gets out of hand. Like, and this is the thing, if we find one angry person walking into the room, we notice it. Now imagine 6 million angry people, what that is going to happen. But if we feel one person who is happy and joyful and playful and kind comes into the room, we can also feel this. Now imagine 6 million happy, content people with what they have. Then we get a whole different world. I mean, like, I listened to this wonderful teaching not so long ago, last year, and then actually I went to an evening with this particular teacher, and he was talking about kindness. He said, if everybody today decide to be kind, we have world peace.
Yeah.
He said, it's actually this simple.
Yeah. It's
And
it's
And I
literally,
go like,
yeah.
wow, this is it. Like, is if every single person now, today, decide, I'm going to be kind. But then they go like, yeah, um, but maybe not to that person who said something naughty to me and I don't like it. And maybe also not to that kind of group of people because I actually don't really like them. No, that is not kindness. I'm talking kind to every single thing, every single human being, every animal, everything. Let's just be kind. Then, if we all can do this, there's world peace. And then we have it today. If you really think about it, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. And it's funny because you're talking about that, and my heart gets so happy, right? Like it's so hard and so simple, but we come up with these crazy solutions with world peace,
Yeah.
like more institutions, more organization, whatever. And what we need to do is actually just help people shift their mindset. That's it.
Well, Absolutely, because if we don't shift the mindset, it will never work. We can have the best technology, we can have anything, but if we don't shift the mindset, we still are very greedy bastards.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because I literally have never thought like we keep investing in guns, but also like UN, peacekeepers, all of that. But unless we start shifting everybody's mindset, this is just it's too much energy. You need too much energy, and it's not work, and it hasn't worked for years. So,
No,
but we can do it.
absolutely. Yeah. But
So,
I think that therefore again, it's this self-responsibility. It's really this self-responsibility. And if every individual would took that self-responsibility, then voila,
yeah.
today, it might, but if you really think about it, that today we could actually have world peace if every single person on earth decide that today they're going to be kind, it is just actually completely mind-blowing because we think, well, world peace, but hang on, we need to dismantle this, we need to do this, we need to do that. It takes years and years and years and years, and then finally maybe we have world peace. No, actually, we could have it today.
Well, when you said the thing about 6 million happy people together, I could feel the like. I was like, I want to be there. Like, I want to just feel
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
It's and it makes such a difference. It's funny, like the reason I have a job now and the reason I like it is that the work is the work and the hours are horrible, but the people I work with are very kind. They're
Yeah.
very kind. There is so much kindness and companionship and connection that I actually go there because I feel the kindness that sometimes I don't feel in other places. So I never had a job where it's almost like my kindness refuge, right? Uh,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
I get paid for that. And it's very, and that doesn't mean it's like flowers and happiness every day, but true connection, true kindness can really make your life so much better. And it's, you can find it everywhere. Like we all, and you said at the beginning also, like if you can only practice on your table or your little cushion, like we see work a lot of time, like I work to work so much and we're victims and society, but it can also become a kind of refuge that you get a lot beyond a salary. So it's also how we look at it that changes it so much.
I mean, this is exactly like I was teaching a class, and this friend of mine said in the class, he said, uh, he didn't know who actually where it came from. And he said, it's never too late to have a great childhood.
Oh, I love
And
that.
and I thought, wow, this is, and he said, just it just depends on your viewpoint. Even if you've been abused, there's still beautiful moments in your childhood where you felt happy and joyful. So it depends on what you think about, right? And there is this wonderful, I've been really thinking about it. I read it the other day. Actually, I saw it in Japanese and I don't read Japanese, but it intrigued me. And I put it in a translation machine. And then it came up with this particular teaching, what I'd heard of before, but then I started to delve a little bit even deeper in it. If you don't think about it, it doesn't exist. And I
Yeah.
go,
Mm.
wow, this is so unbelievable powerful because we think like, for example, if I say I have a relationship, this is I was thinking about, say I have a relationship and your partner is cheating and you don't know it, then the problem doesn't exist because you don't know it.
No, but it's
Only,
true.
only when the partner says I'm cheating, then you know it, then it becomes an issue. And there's so many different things. So if you these days also, I think because we've become so globalized,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, we didn't know what was taking place in Australia or like now, we get bombarded by this information on Instagram. This happens, this happens, this happened. So
Yeah.
we
Bad thing.
think about a lot. So therefore it exists. But in my time, it was way simpler because we didn't think about, like, we didn't realize maybe there was a war somewhere going on because we didn't know, right? So, therefore, when we really think about this deeper, and it's not ignoring it, it's not saying we ignore it, but if I don't think about it, it doesn't exist, then wow, there is like it's so powerful. And then so I start to investigate this sentence and I talked to my teacher in Japan. He said, actually, this is the first teachings a lot of Buddhist teachings in Japan learn. Boom. He said, it's of course very difficult, right? Because we keep thinking about things. But if I don't think about a past event, then it doesn't give me any trouble, is it?
No, or at least way less than it should. You may still have some trauma and react, but it's give you less. Like
Of course.
sometimes when we had a fight with a friend, and the best, like one thing, especially because now my friends, like I have tiny fights, but you start literally building up on your head, and the more you build up, the bigger the fight becomes. But if you leave like the fight and say like, I'm not gonna think about it, I'm gonna give myself a week. You text to your friend back after a week and you're fine. Like
Absolutely.
it's
Or the
I'm
next
sorry.
day.
Yeah, I took you big thing to a very simple thing,
Yeah.
but it's but I can see how, and that's not ignoring, it's willingly giving it space and
Yeah.
not rehashing it in your mind. So
Yeah.
I totally understand when you say it's not about ignoring it. It's like I cannot control my I cannot control what's happening in Europe or Asia or whatever. I can be aware of it, but right now I need to be grateful for what I have, and that's gonna be more helpful.
Yeah. I cannot even control what, say, I have some friends coming in a minute. I cannot control what they are going to say. This is impossible,
Yeah.
right? But I can control how to react to it. And if one person says something and I keep thinking about it and being irritated about it, then I stay irritated. If they say something and I hear it, but I don't keep thinking about it, then no problem.
It's gone.
And
It doesn't exist.
it
Yeah.
doesn't exist. And it's actually as simple as that. And that could be tiny little things what we create such a huge problem about it. Why? Because we keep regurgitating it again and again and again and again, and therefore it stays a problem. And I like this. It's in some of these teachings in Japan, they call it like the second arrow. So someone says something and it you feel hurt. So that's the first arrow. But the second arrow is actually you grab it and you keep thinking about it and you keep going like this. It's called, wow, that really hurts. No, you're doing this yourself because you keep regurgitating the whole fucking story. But if you actually take the arrow out and you drop the story, you stop thinking about it, then no more issue.
Yeah. Or you take the right action because you're clear and there is not that crazy emotion and that
Well,
added.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
that for me is really, when you really look into Reiki precepts, or when we look at in these meditation practices within the system of Reiki, like Joshin Kokyo or pure mind. Joshin Kokyo translates as pure mind with every in and out breath. That means don't contaminate it by these stories we weave around something. Keep it pure. And so then we go like, wow, this is quite interesting. Well, this is pure. Don't think about it.
yeah. It's it's
And
no,
so,
it's
and
I
sometimes I do this practice, Natalie. I've got floor heating, but the floor heating is not working properly at the
okay.
moment. So, because of Christmas and New Year, they haven't really fixed it. Well, this guy came in and looked at, wow, that needs to be completely changed, and I need to file in a report to be able to do this. So finally, they said, okay, it's all we come to come. But if I keep thinking the whole day while I'm sitting here in my house, it is cold, then it starts to be very cold. But if I just focus on what I'm doing, then I'm not thinking that it is cold. That already has a huge effect on my body not feeling cold.
Yeah. Or at least it's cold, but it's you're not freezing to death. It's just not as comfortable. It's not big deal. Eh,
Yeah,
I did something. Well, it it wasn't my fault really. It was sort of. So my flight coming back from New York to visit my family in France changed, and they sent me a new time, but they sent it with the New York time. So my flight was at 2:30 or 2:40, and I received a stuff that it changed to 8:30 a.m. I'm like,
yeah,
oh shit, because my sister will have to drive me to the airport like at 5 in the morning. She has a party. And I just don't react. And when I did a check-in, they said a little later, I was like, oh, that's weird. But my boarding pass on the phone was 8:30 a.m. So
Yeah.
then I called because they had put us in awful seats. I get better seats, but I check the seat, but I don't check the time. As we go to the airport 5 in the morning, I say that it says 2:30 p.m. And but we're already in the car, right? And I'm feeling so bad. I made my sister, my brother-in-law, I made my husband, like all of us wake up. I slept, I work until 1:30, so I had slept 2 hours. I was exhausted. And I'm like feeling dreadful, right? Then we get to Charles de Gaulle and we got there and we found comfortable seat. There was an exhibition of Henri Cartier-Bresson, and we decided already to have like, okay, this is it. If I went to Delta, we tried to get us
Yeah.
stuff. They were super nice. They got us like the bag checks for free. They said your fare doesn't change to the earlier, you're screwed. But then we literally like it's a nice airport to be stuck on. We started chatting. I didn't have like a week with my family. I didn't have time to chat with my husband. We did stuff for like we wanted to do that we hadn't done before with our phones. We decided to have an amazing lunch because we didn't have to pay for the bags and have wine. We got a little tipsy. And then we got into the plane with screaming kids. And we actually, I can tell you, it was almost the best day of my vacation.
Yeah, but this is it. And this is also because you keep not regurgitating, oh, poor me, la, la, la. You didn't think about it. You moved
Yeah.
on to the next thing.
Yeah. 8 hours, like with comfortable seats and
Yeah.
nothing to do, which is a privilege. Like I literally had for the first time nothing to do. And it was amazing, right?
Yeah.
But you can see how sometimes we make things that I'm not saying they're comfortable. You hit or like me effing up and being 8 hours at the airport. Yeah, they're not the most comfortable and they're unlucky. But they are not really that big. They're not like life destroying. And that's where we have the power to really make it into what we want.
Yeah. And there, that is where on a daily basis, we have these choices we can make. And if we learn how to make these choices, then these situations become very beautiful situations. We're actually grateful, A, that we can fly, B, that we can be with our family, C, that we don't have to pay for the luggage, whatever. Then automatically, like I travel a lot as well. And I think these situations of traveling, because it doesn't always go smooth, are
Most of
actually
we don't.
wonderful experiences to apply your practice in your daily life.
Yeah, and you can apply them like when I think, okay, we travel, but it's also the line in the supermarket, the traffic. You
Yeah.
get stuck in traffic, the subway that doesn't come. And so, how can we, if some days we're rested, like, there's a moment, yeah, some days we're going to lose it, we'll be compassionate. But if you're stuck in
Yeah.
traffic, can you put a podcast on learning something? Can we make it into a special occasion?
Well, I mean, like, for example, today I talked about the wet snow, it's cold. I have to be grateful, A, that my mom is still here while I'm
Yeah.
going to there. B, that I have a bike to, and I don't have to walk. If I walk, then I should be glad that I actually have shoes, like, or that I have a rain jacket. Or, and then when we focus on the gratefulness,
Yeah.
automatically all the other things we think is shitty dissolve
Yeah,
very
it's
easily.
no, I think it's a lovely way. For me, that's the focus this year a lot. And even the fact that you can experience like the snow falling on your face, it's quite amazing, right? So how can we do more of that?
Yeah.
Because and I think you said it, I don't think 2026 is gonna be way easier than 2025. I hope it is. I wish it is, but it may still be a challenging year globally in
Yeah.
terms of economy. So how can we really still find joy and an inner abundance and like leave 2026 with what we have and really just have a good internal year, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, but this is it. No, again, we cannot change things outside of ourselves, but we can change how we react to them. And that is the most important element. Like, if we can change how we react to it, then automatically we also start to see that we are actually responsible for the outer elements what take place. But that might be another podcast.
Yes. But
But
it's And I think the last thing I would like to close is one little tip, because another thing that I feel has disappeared is joy. I even see it in young people. Like there is, feeling this carefree joy. And I'm not
Mm.
talking irresponsible, get, wasted out of your mind joy, but like that joy that makes you sometimes like go and dance when you're cleaning. So if there is one tip you will give people to sometimes find or rekindle a little bit of joy.
Yeah, I think that's seeing the joy in anything you do. Oh, the other day, yesterday actually, I came home. I was a little bit tired, and I thought, okay, it's now the 1st of January. Let me clean up the Christmas tree and the Christmas decorations. So I put them some nice music. I made it into a fun event for myself, right? So after actually doing this, I felt so much more energy and lighter and more open. I was singing to myself. And so again, who makes it? This is the most important thing I come to see more and more. Who makes it into a difficult task? Who says it's tiring? Who says I make these choices? And the moment I realize, oh, I am making the choice. Oh, it's really raining and windy and bad outside. It's going to be terrible to be on the bike and visit my mum. Then it's going to be terrible because I made that decision myself. But if I say, oh, actually, I'm gonna have a nice fun bike ride along the river with the snow and the wind. I see it as an exercise, then I don't have to go to the gym. I don't know. Then automatically the whole situation changes. The
Yeah.
whole experience changes. But the person who changes that is you, me, myself. I'm changing this.
Yeah. And I think also I'm thinking of that. And then if the storm is too big, it's also saying, well, I'm not going. I don't need to be a
Absolutely.
victim. I don't need to sacrifice myself and suffer. I'll go
Yeah.
when the snow is gone. Like, make either choices are valid. Like,
Yeah.
it's
And
because,
then if you make that choice, like yesterday, it was really super rainy and I couldn't be bothered to go to my mom. So my mom said, it's fine. So I rang her up and then I just had a nice day because I did something else. And that is also fine. But again, who makes these choices? So if I make that choice, I'm not going, what is great. But then if I keep remembering this thought and regurgitating, oh, I should have gone, I should have done this, and then my day is not so good. So again, I do this. Or if I just go on to the next thought and the next thing I'm doing without thinking about the previous thing. So I'm really focused on what I'm doing then in the present moment. And automatically it doesn't exist. The problem doesn't exist.
no, I love that. I love that teaching. And I think at the end, that's it. It doesn't exist. It's do not anger, do not worry, right? It's literally there. It
Yeah.
says it in the precepts. It's just a different way. I think it's a way that is almost easier to understand. If you don't worry about it, there is nothing. It disappears.
Yeah.
It's
Why do we worry? Because we think about the future. So if I don't think about the future, no worry. Why am I angry? Because you said something 2 seconds ago. So that's the past. So if I don't think about the past, then there's no anger. It's actually super simple.
and also it's very funny. Like the more I think about it, you're talking all about people talking and saying things. It's funny how much power we give to words of another person that really don't mean anything.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and then the more I do this, the more I need to laugh about it, my own fucking stupidity.
Yeah, it's also in the language
It's
because a
like,
lot of people love like empowering. It's giving you power away. Like I don't like that kind of language, but it's like you're like happy, and then someone says like, "Oh, I think you're a nerd," and you get offended. Like, who
yeah,
cares? Who cares what that other person is saying or think or why they're saying it? It's just very strange.
it is. The other day, someone said, "Frans, you look a bit like Mr. Bean." Like, yeah. But but it is, if you really think about how we get so caught up with these fantasies in relationships, in life, with these ideas we have, then in fact, like the other day, I got a bit not angry, but I got a bit upset. Someone said something, and then literally, like, I thought about it, like, man, what is it? It's just nothing. It's just, in Dutch, we call it gebakken lucht. It means baked air. It's, you like, and then you go like, was I really upset about this? Just like, what the hell? And did it really, you really let it ruin like 4 hours or 3 hours or 1 hour? Well, what a waste of time.
Yeah,
You just have to laugh about it if you really think about it.
yeah,
And this is with anything. I mean, it sounds terrible. Actually, one of my mom's neighbor just passed away, and so we have these conversations about death, and my mom is not doing so well. And and even it sounds terrible, but even that concept, we make it in such a strange thing because as soon as I was born, many years ago, 10, no, as soon as I was born, I knew I was going to die.
yeah. That's the one prophecy that comes true.
Like as soon as this was born or created, we knew it one day it will fall apart. So, but then when it happens, we all go like, "Oh, geez," and we all cry wolf. But in fact, it's the one thing. It's part of life. And now we're saying, in fact, I hope that when I pass away, it doesn't matter when or how I will pass away, that we actually celebrate. I had a great life. And so this is also very important in our daily life. Things come and go. That's the only certainty we have. And look, now the sun is coming. It was super windy and wet snow that came and went. Now the sun is shining beautifully, but that also comes and goes. So don't hold on to it.
Yeah, no, it is what it is, but yeah, no attachment. And I do love those tips. And I'm so grateful you took the time to share with us those tips. I think these challenging years have the opportunity to make us grow and actually make us,
Yeah.
and when I say joyful, again, it's deeply that inner joy and compassion and gratitude and kindness, not like, that, hey, hashtag kindness, hashtag joyful.
No.
But I do think there's an opportunity, but also to really see what we have, which sometimes we're blinded. So when we start like things are not stable, like it's a great moment to actually realize we already have abundance. We already are everything we need, hopefully. And then if not, things are as it is, and we do need to work
Yeah.
because, life happens.
I mean, I'm just reminded of I was many years ago. I moved back to Australia, and I didn't had a visa yet to work, so I was working under the table. And at that moment, we didn't have any money, and it was Christmas, and we were just had this little baby, and I was working in a expensive apartment complex, rolling and cleaning rubbish bins, rolling them out and cleaning them and tidying them. That was my job. And I actually really loved it. And the funny thing is, this was before Christmas. I found so many things in this rubbish bin. I found a Christmas tree, what in fact I think we had for about 15 years. Uh, Wrapping paper. We didn't had a music equipment, so I found an old stereo CD player. The whole Christmas was based on the things I found in this
That's
rubbish bins.
beautiful.
And I was super happy because there were things which you discovered, and this is, we don't need always new things. We don't like there is abundance right in front of our noses if we really want to see it. First of all, the abundance that I can breathe air, because if there's no air, there's no France. Forget about it. And there's a lot of abundance of air at the moment.
No, I know, but I also love that you share that because I think people say, "Oh, Franz is happy because he lives in Haarlem, has a nice apartment," but there is also the Franz that took garbage bin out of an apartment,
Yeah,
get a Christmas tree at the end. So, like, I know sometimes we may appear like, oh, it's easy for you to be happy because of that, but everybody has had challenges, different parts. And again, as you say, apartments, abundance comes and goes, right? Some days we clean garbage stuff, some days we're in an office, other days we
yeah,
may be in a supermarket. So,
absolutely.
and that is okay. That is part of like also not getting attached. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate you sharing that story. I didn't know that story. So we very cool.
It was fun though. Because every day was like, oh, what am I going to find now in these bins? I mean, like, and it was amazing because it was in luxurious apartment buildings. They throw out the most amazing things. What was a treasure for me at that time, and I think even the CD player, I think we kept for like years because it still worked. The cassette player didn't
Yeah.
work, but the CD player worked. And, like I don't know. It's just the wonder is. I always feel the wonder is on the street. It's like as you were saying, when you smile at someone and they smile back or they react in a certain way. Like this morning, to come back to that story, this woman in the cafe and she hugs me, and I was like, "Wow, what a beautiful start of the day." I mean, like no matter how much money or no money we have, we can still smile at each other and give each other a hug, and that will already change your whole mindset.
Yeah. That is beautiful ending to a conversation. I always enjoy talking to you so much. I'm so grateful for this time. And as usual, I'm going to put all of France's links on the notes so you can also check his schedule for classes, retreats, online, in person, everywhere, and enjoy more of his beautiful teachings. Thank you, France.
Thank you, Natalie. And I always enjoy talking to you and seeing your beautiful smile too.
Thank you. Besos.
Bye.